Welcome back, everyone. This is Staring from Staring Gaming. Today we're running the Arcway. This was a max level dungeon back in Legion. As you see, it's actually the underneath in Sumar. We're just gonna jump right into it. We try to avoid everything we can. I don't know if we can avoid this acidic bite though. Oh, I avoided. Now, as you can see, the pathway you can take actually changes up a lot. You can tell by which way you'll have to go due to the locked doors. And it looks like I did not dodge the acidic bite. It still came for me. And as you can see, the slimes break into smaller slimes as you defeat them. But as I was saying, it looks like I'm going to have to go through the demon part, into the arcane animal part, into the knife fallen part, into... We're going to be going a clockwise effect to end up here where the last boss will spawn. So, we're going to be making our way to the General Zakka.
Forward, maggots! Secure the breach until we receive orders from Gul'dan!
Yeah, you really need to pay attention to the map, because technically I can go this way, but we gotta go on top side first to take out the boss. Now we can shortcut here, as you can see. That way you don't have to backtrack. You can just shortcut there, I believe. Now you see it's General Zakka. Oops, wrong. The abilities you're going to deal with is Fell Fissure, where the General will tear open a rift at a random player's location that persists for the remainder of the fight. And after 3 seconds, it will explode into a Fell Spire, if anyone's within the target location. Now, when this erupts, it does a massive bit of it does a moderate amount of shadow damage to all players within 6 yards and knocks them back. Wicked Slam is when he slams his axe in the ground, inflicting physical damage to all players and knocking them back. Shadow Slash is when the General will empower his axe with dark magic. Creates a wave of energy that shoots out towards a random player. If hit, it will take shadow damage and anyone else who hits it. Now on Mythic alone, the Wake of Shadows, this will leave energy in his wake for 20 seconds. This effect will inflict shadow damage to anyone within the area every second. So we're going to Fire Blast.
Some entertainment! I was getting restless.
Here is Spell Fissure. There's Shadow Slash, and there's the Wake part right there. Now, as I went back into that area, that exploded. Now, what I didn't mention, the Dread Fellbat.
All who rise against the Legion!
You'll call these in periodically to fight. Each of them flies over in the battlefield will bombard, which you saw the Shadow Bombardment, which does shadow damage to anyone who hits. Then Thirst for Blood means they'll start attacking you, inflicting physical damage. And you can see, their speed and damage increases by 10% for remainder fight, and it's stacked, so they need to be burned down as fast as possible. As you see, get more. My elemental just like
None can best the great Zakal.
Zakal. Okay, that's your name. Gotcha. We're gonna make our way over here to Naltira. As you see, little shortcut route here. You can just jump right down. Your pet will usually follow you. We're gonna make our way in here. Let's see if I can blink right by. Yep. And there, I believe it would be. There she is. Okay. Now, I believe in order to get her to come down, we'll need to take out all the spiderlings in this room. And as you see, as you kill the spiderlings, they will explode a few seconds after death. Now, as you're killing them, once you kill enough, more ads will spawn into the room. Basically, you're going to be full clearing this room. After you kill enough spiders, the boss will eventually come down herself. And here she is. Alright, let's bring her up. Now, on Heroic and above, she has this ability known as Vicious Manafang. Now, these will attempt to devour a player, rooting him in place and inflicting physical damage every second for 20 seconds. The effect is cancelled if the Manafang suffers 30% of his maximum health and damage. Now, for her abilities, Blink Strike is she'll teleport to a distant player and execute a series of attacks for 2.5 seconds. Each attack does arcane damage to all players in front of her for every half second. Now, her Nether Venom, which she'll spit at a random player, will persist for 5 minutes. Players that are inside this venom will take arcane damage and have their haste reduced by 500%. You're basically going to probably end up going into negative haste. Now, Tangle Web, she'll pull a random player to her location, connecting each player together with the web that inflicts arcane damage every second. This effect will persist, until all the ones webbed together move at least 30 yards away from one another. We're going to Fire Blast. I'm going to let my Elemental do some damage to show you some of these abilities. There we go. My Elemental has pulled aggro. As you see, there is her Blink Strikes. Now here is the Vicious Manafang. As you see, she just lobbed her venom at me. Now here comes Tangled Web. Since it doesn't count my elemental as a player, so. But as you see, if you get pulled there, you're gonna run away from one another. You see, that is our area. We will make our way to Corsilax. Now, I believe once you defeat the 4 bosses, I believe all these doors should unlock. We will see after we take out these the 2 remaining bosses before the last. Now, you see, they're withered in this area. Like, every little part has their own specific type of mobs. And let's see, there are, in this run, we do have a supply chest we can go loot. hidden here in the ivy. And we got some resources and some tarot decks which we can sell for some money. Now, let's check our map. As you can see, I overshot. But because I went for the chest, it was worth it. Now. Oh yeah, the Forgotten Spirit. Back then, she was pretty wicked. So we did actually do our best to avoid her. Nowadays, you can one-shot her. We're gonna take out all the ads here first. Corsalax here is a massive construct. Since we're on Mythic, he has... Is it? Okay, yep, it does say he's a he, okay. Corsalax here will summon an orb of unstable energy for 1 minute. Now this effect will do arcane damage to all players nearby every second, so you don't want to be near it. Now we go Nightwell Energy. The Nightwell Energy will increase the haste of Corsalax, giving him a haste buff that is 15% and does stack. Now he also has Cleansing Force. He'll draw in all players, removing 1 stack of Nightwell Energy, which means you'll get Nightwell Energy too. Now you'll lose a stack every 2 seconds out of 8. Now when this ends, all players within 15 yards of him will take arcane damage. The effect will stun you for 12 seconds if you have any stacks of Nightwell Energy left. To be honest, you might just not want to try to get caught within the Cleansing Force if possible. Energy Burst is nearby conduits burst, applying a stack of Nightwell Energy to all players and creating several pools of energy for 15 seconds. If you enter this pool, you'll get more Nightwell Energy. His Suppression Protocol will channel out a player for 5 seconds, firing a missile at their location every second. When this impacts, it does arcane damage to all players within 6 yards. It increases the arcane damage they'll take by 15% for 15 seconds. In addition, all players will take an additional bit of arcane damage. Now, Quarantine is when Corsalax here will target a random player and put them in quarantine, which stuns them for 20 seconds or until the quarantine crystal is shattered. While the person's in there, they'll be taking arcane damage every second. Now, this is ended if another player channels for a second on the crystal and frees the other player. We're going to Fire Blast and get into this. Here is Suppression. As you see, you want to run away. Is that the Nightwell Energy? As you see, these are the pools of Nightwell Energy you can run into. As you can see, your haste is going up. Oh crap. As you see, it got rid of all my stacks. But if you pick up a lot more than what I did, chances are you're gonna get stunned. So everyone, I believe roughly everyone would try to get 3 to 5 stacks. Specifically, the casters more or less be the ones trying to get these pools. And it seems I have a very powerful water elemental. But that's the basics of the ability, other than, because if I was somewhere else, we could show you Quarantine, which basically, he'll trap the player in a crystal in the center here, and all you have to do is click on it, do a channel for a second, and you'll free them. Now we're making our way to, I'm just going to call him Ivanar. Put that up. For Ivanar, on Mythic,
Stay back. It's mine.
His energy here, charged bolt, will drain energy from the night crystal, as you see back there, till it becomes unstable, increasing the bolts you cast. Each bolt travels out from the crystal, doing arcane damage every half second to anyone who touches it. Now, overcharged mana will channel power from the night crystal to get overstack charges. These charges will increase haste and damage by 5% per stack. You can interrupt this. Now, Arcane Blast is he just blasts a target of arcane damage. Another link is he'll link 3 random players, repelling them away from each other for 5 seconds. Now, when this link expires, a pool of arcane energy is created within the space between the targeted players for 2 minutes. Now, this will inflict arcane damage with anyone who stands within it for every second. Now, we're not going to be able to show that, but just imagine 3 players making a triangle, and then a pool of purple, pinkish energy you can't step in for a while. Ivan here marks several random players with Vault of Magic, and after 4 seconds, the magic will explode, doing damage to all players within 8 yards of the afflicted player. Got an Ice Lance.
Thieves! The mana is mine! Go away!
There's Volatile Magic. As you can see, you want to run away from everyone when you have that. We're going to passive my Water Elemental real fast. I want to show you the channeling he does on the crystal. Yeah, interrupting Arcane Blast really don't do squat. It just stops that specific cast. Now here's Overcharged Mana. I didn't interrupt, so he got a permanent 5 stack right there. So you gotta interrupt that back then, or he would get permanent stacks for the rest of the fight. Now, it's pretty easy to dodge these little unstable energies coming out from the crystal. You just make sure he's in a good spot fighting, and you can easily avoid these. Now, as you can see, defeating the last of the 4 bosses has unlocked the whole...
My. Someone has made quite a mess down here. It has been too long since we purged these catacombs of refuse. It appears we have a rat infestation.
And see, since I defeated all 4 of these bosses, all the doors now have unlocked. So I can take a straight path back here to the last boss, who will spawn in after you take these 4 out. And that would be Advisor Vandross. Now, this is a 2-phase fight, to be honest. You got your first phases here, where Celerine Blast, which should be interrupted whenever you get a chance. It'll blast the player of dark energy doing arcane damage, and each successful cast will increase the damage done and haste by 5%, and it does stack, so you want to interrupt this when you can. Now, Force Bomb, he'll summon 2 Force Bombs that detonate after 5 seconds. Each of these Force Bombs will inflict arcane damage to all players within 4 yards and create a Force Nova. Now, this Force Nova does damage every half second to all players within the Nova's area in effect. And outward, and also the additional, it will actually push out. It'll push from its explosion area outwards, and will push you along with it, so you'll have to fight against it. Chrono Shards, these will spawn in periodically and explode after 8 seconds. If you're within 10 yards of it, you'll take some arcane damage. Now, Time Split, after these shards are detonated, they'll do arcane damage to all players in 10 seconds, of course. Now, this unstable mana is on Heroic. Actually on Mythic. My bad. Now, the Advisor here will brand a player with unstable energy that marks their current target every half second for 8 seconds. And after 1.5 seconds, the marked target will explode for arcane damage, doing damage to anyone within 5 yards. So whoever gets this tends to need to be the one to run away. Now, his second phase kicks in when he hits 50% health. he'll teleport all players away and attempts to banish them in time. Now, if he's not re-engaged back here in 2 minutes, you'll be lost in time and instantly die. Now, during this phase, you'll have these timeless wraiths, that'll roam between the space of time where you need to basically you need to kill them to get back. During this time, they have breach, which they'll breach time, inflicting arcane damage to all players within 15 yards every second. Now, the ability you have to be aware of is why you need to kill them back then. It's this time lock. They could stun a player for 10 seconds. So if you tried to speed run this, chances are you're going to get stun locked for the whole 2-minute duration. The whole group could have. I've seen it happen once. So we're going to jump in here. I'm going to fire blast.
I have not survived for 10,000 years just to fall to a swarm of rats.
As you can see, Accelerating Blast kicked in. Here are the exploding little crystals that float around. As you see, he is getting his stacks, which you can spell steal.
Have you vermin never witnessed such raw power?
And it stacks on you too,
not.
so I just took all his stacks and got 4 myself, but that blows through your mana. Now here's the Force Nova. That's why you want to fight against it, because it'll just keep pushing you back and damaging you. My elemental.
I am a conduit of the Nightwell's glorious power.
Time.
I am Nightborn.
As you can see, you need to open up your map real fast and see where you are and plan out your path. Unfortunately, because of that, the path you want to take usually is not the path you can take. So it's all about speed. You gotta look, see which way you're going. See, I couldn't go the easiest path, so I'm gonna have to go this way. And again, it doesn't work that way. Hopefully these doors aren't locked, because it would make me possibly have to go all the way around, which would suck. But as you can see, we chose the right path to get back to the boss. I believe there's an achievement associated with this where you don't kill any of these little rafts. Now, as you can see, while you're banished, you still have these little geodes spawning on you, so you get back to him, into his bubble.
You little beasts are getting out of hand.
You get out being banished. Now we're gonna end this guy.
The Grand Magistrix will have your heads for this.
But that was pretty much the Arcway. This is Astarion from Astarion Gaming asking you to please like and subscribe to these videos. Also, go check out my Twitch channel. Till then, I'll see you all in the next video.